Well, it's about 5:17 p.m. on Friday, the 6th of October, so Get Graphic starts, the graphic readathon, and I'll be beginning with this particular one, which is 7 Billion Needles by Nobuaki Tadano, and it is volume 1 in the series. Whoa! Whoa! Knocked me over. Well, it's 10 o'clock, and I've only read about 117 pages, so I'm literally about halfway through it. Kind of just didn't feel like reading. I'm gonna just read a little bit more and then turn in, and then I'll try and make up some time tomorrow and get some more reading done. Good night, Skippy. Well, it's the beginning of day 2, and I finished my first book, 7 Billion Needles. This is a graphic novel that's new to you. 7 Billion Needles actually refers to the 7 billion humans on the planet, and we are following one of those humans, Hikaru Takanabe. That's her right there. She lost her parents in an accident and had to leave the island they were from and moved in with her aunt and uncle. She's kind of antisocial or suffers social anxiety. I'm not really sure which, but she tends to go around with just her headphones on all the time, zoning out, tuning out everybody else, and just kind of staring up into the stars at the beginning of the manga. When she sees a star kind of do something odd, it's not a falling star because it changes trajectory, and all of a sudden it's this gigantic asteroid which comes crashing to the Earth, and she's kind of vaporized. That's her right there. And then she wakes up and she's back in school and thinks the whole thing was a hallucination until she hears a voice inside her head, an alien voice telling her, "You died once, I brought you back, but you can't live without me." It's inside of her somehow. And we come to find out it's this, we'll call it the good alien. He's chasing after another alien, an evil one called Maelstrom, and it's chased it back down to Earth, and it's now hiding in some other human on the planet. So they have to find it amongst these 7 billion, looking for a needle in a haystack, the 7 billion needles of humans. And this alien needs Hikaru's help, so she has to kind of engage with the people around her so it can maybe sense the presence of this maelstrom within them. It was a little slow going in the beginning, but it definitely picked up, and I was getting more into it. I like the artwork. There's some strange things going on in there. So the next one I'm going to be picking up is Junji Ito's Dissolving Classroom, which is a collection of very gruesome short stories by the horror master of manga. I've been up for about 2.5 hours now, and I've read absolutely nothing. I've been caught up watching David Tennant in Much Ado About Nothing, at least clips of it that I could find on YouTube. Fantastic, totally hilarious, brought the play even more to life than just reading it. But anyway, time to go walk Skippy. There she is, all ready to go. There's the little monster at the end of my monster leash. Must have spotted a squirrel. Well, it turned out to be a beautiful sunny day, although very windy, so I really don't want to go inside. I'm going to take my book outside and enjoy the weather and try and read. Hopefully the book won't blow away, or myself. Well, so much for nice sunshine. It's gotten really gloomy and it's starting to get a little chilly, so I'm actually going to go inside and keep reading. So I just finished Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito. Get a load of that cover. It's pretty gruesome, and pretty much what you'll be seeing through most of the manga. It features Yuma Azawa and his younger sister Chizumi in a series of short stories that really feel like one elongated story because it's about them. And as a child, their parents were kind of cruel to them, and I guess he took out his anger on small animals, killing these small animals, and he thinks it created a curse on his sister, who's possessed by some evil creature, and she does these horrible things, chasing after children and women and stuff, and lots of weird things start happening around them. And he goes around, right from the very beginning of the first story when he's introduced at a new school, he apologizes. He apologizes to everybody. He's constantly apologizing, and he's saying he's apologizing because he feels he caused this curse on her. So he outwardly appears a kind and gentle soul, wanting to make amends for whatever, but she seems outwardly evil, but technically they both are, there's an underlying evilness to Yuma that we find out through the course of the story. So all these stories do kind of link together because of these two main characters, and every time something happens in their location, they kind of have to move to another location, then another incidents happen, and things start to kind of come to a head at the very end. It is pretty gruesome throughout. Some of the images you see, people kind of melting, hence the dissolving theme that comes out throughout the whole thing. It's typical Junji Ito kind of style. If you're looking for a good horror manga, he's definitely the person to go to. I particularly liked Uzumaki by this mangaka. But yeah, overall, I'd say gruesomely enjoyed it. But I gave it about 4 stars. So right now, I think I need to move on to something a little more lighthearted. So I'm going to go with Awkward by Svetlana Chmakova. This is a middle grade graphic novel, and like I said, hopefully it'll be a little more lighthearted for me. And it's finally made up its mind to go ahead and just rain today. Okay, so I'm currently on page 102 in Awkward, about halfway through. I took a break because I was working on another project. I'm kind of just dabbling in on that Inktober thing on Twitter, where every day through the month of October you do some kind of ink sketch. I only started 2 days ago. But I worked on this one today. Thought it came out pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, I just need a little bit of a break. But I'm going to go ahead and back to reading now. It's about 5 o'clock. I'm going to grab some dinner really quick and then back to my book. So I finished Awkward. It's currently 9:30. I really enjoyed this one. This is about a girl named Penelope, or Peppy for short. She's joining a new school, and she's got 2 rules. One, don't get noticed by the mean kids. And the second one, join up with groups that have similar interests to you. Well, the second rule she does fine, but the first rule she screws up on day 1. When she's late for school, she comes running in. There are trips, spilling her papers all over the place. A bunch of kids start laughing at her. This young boy here named Jamie tries to help her out by picking up all her papers and handing them to her, but he's kind of referred to as a bit of a nerd. And some of the mean kids all of a sudden start calling her Nerder's girlfriend, Nerder's girlfriend. She's all embarrassed, and she pushes him out of the way and runs out of the school. And she spends pretty much the rest of this book here totally embarrassed by what she did. She feels really bad about it, wants to apologize, but doesn't have the courage. She is later paired up with a student aide to help her in science class. Well, guess who the teacher picks? This guy here, Jamie. It turns out they're both members of rival clubs. She's in the art club, he's in the science club, and the 2 clubs hate each other, and they'll be butting heads back and forth. But now that she's sort of working with him on science stuff, she's getting a little more comfortable with him. But it does take her a while to kind of fess up to what she did. And I just like the story. The characters and all were really great, and the whole kind of plot line was really cute, had a really nice moral at the end to it. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to call it a night for now, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, it's day 3, the final day of the readathon. Last night I started Thornhill by Pam Smythe. I got about halfway through it. I almost didn't want to stop reading. I'm going to continue with this one this morning. Where'd you go? I just finished reading Thornhill, which is written and illustrated by Pam Smye. This is a story of two girls. We follow one named Mary. Back in 1982, she lives in an orphanage called Thornhill, and she was relentlessly bullied throughout her time there by one particular girl who's never named in the book. And she suffers from selective mutism, meaning she doesn't talk to anybody. The only way we hear her thoughts are through the pages of her diary, which is the only text that appears within the book. It's always dated, and it tells her story of her encounters with this unnamed girl and the trouble she has with her. She lives a very lonely, sad life there at the orphanage. Then we also follow Ella's story, and her story is told strictly through the pictures. So that's Ella there. She moves into a house across the street from the vacant Thornhill. It's been vacant for now some 30 years, and she lives in 2017. She also lives a bit of a sad, lonely life, too. We don't know what happened to her mother. Apparently she has passed away, and she lives just with her father, who we never see within the pages of the text. Just notes that he leaves behind for her. He always seems to be busy with work and missing dinner and just apologizing, and so she's pretty much on her own. But she starts to see some strange things from the vacant lot. Well, the house is still standing, but she sees some strange things happening across the way there, and goes off to kind of trespass in the area and explore what's going on, and uncover some very interesting things there. And I don't want to go into detail or any spoilers, but I thought it was a very moving story. It has lots of themes, like I said, of bullying and sadness and loneliness, and just looking for that one true friend to connect with. I literally got goosebumps at the end of the book. Sitting out here in the sunshine, I still had goosebumps. Had a really intriguing ending, and I just love the whole story and the illustrations and the way that the stories kind of go back and forth between the two girls and how everything kind of connects and all. And I highly recommend this one. This is my graphic novel, over 300 pages, and now I'm moving on to my last challenge, which is to read two graphic novels, or two volumes in the same storyline. So I'm picking Higurashi When They Cry and beginning Volume 1. I just finished Volume 1 of Higurashi When They Cry. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening, and now I'm moving on to Volume 2. Well, it's 10 o'clock, and I finished the second volume of Higurashi When They Cry, so that's the 2 volumes completed. I enjoyed this. This is the first arc, like I said, in a huge series, and it features this young man here, Keiichi. He moves to a new town, and it's called Hinamizawa. I have trouble with that name. And it's just a small little town where he meets these 4 girls, and he joins this club with them, and they just play games and stuff. They kind of challenge each other, and the loser always has some kind of punishment thing they have to do, something goofy or embarrassing or whatever. But he has a really great time with these friends. And then he comes to learn that in this small town there was a mysterious grisly murder that took place on the eve of a festival called the Cotton Drifting Festival. And subsequently, for the past 4 or 5 years, on that specific festival date, another murder has taken place. He comes to find out more and more about this grisly murder that took place, and then there seems to be ties to his friends. When he kind of asks about it, they pretend like they don't know, but they seem to have connections to these people that have died, and it gets really creepy and really dark, and the horror aspect kind of comes into it more and more as you progress through this particular arc. I thought it was really, really good. I'm curious to see where the rest of it goes. So that completes the Get Graphic Readathon for me, and I've completed all my challenges. The first one was read a new-to-you series, which was 7 Billion Needles. Read 2 installments from the same series, which I chose Higurashi When They Cry. Read a work over 300 pages. That was Thornhill. Read a work in black and white, and I chose Dissolving Classroom, although all of these here are black and white. Read a book picked out by a friend, which I chose Awkward, and read at least 5 books, and there are 6 here. So, successful readathon for me. I really enjoyed it, and really enjoyed kind of delving into some of these. So, hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.